gospel-preaching church that is loving, righteous in its lifestyle, involved in world mission and reaching the unsaved in its community by both public and personal evangelistic activity.
When you first became a Christian, you noticed that a lot of people who were excited about Christianity weren't necessarily excited about the church, but you obviously are excited about the church. When did you begin to become excited about the church?
I guess for me, like many, I got saved on the back of the Billy Graham crusades, actually, and I think I came into church life fairly typically. It was only later that I began, on reflection, to see that it was a pretty lonely place. And especially as I'd been raised with a group of friends who were very close, talked about everything till late at night, shared their lives, and then church going was lonely. And the pastor even, who was a wonderful guy and preached tremendous sermons, was at the door to shake your hand, and then you went home. And I think I really felt, hey, I need more friendship. I need to get alongside people.
Yeah. So would you say that the church that you first got involved in was more preoccupied with private piety, personal piety, than public evangelism and mission?
I think probably the individual was the centre of everything. And the word personal was very popular. So you did your personal devotions, your personal evangelism. Everything was personal, which was exciting, because when I first became a Christian, I found God personally. I didn't think anybody knew God personally. Yeah. It was great to know God personally. So for a while, you thought, hey, this is good. But, if you're going to press on, you need closer friends. You need to be able to talk. You need someone who you can be maybe accountable to. There's a lot to work through, which you can't do alone. So the emphasis on personal wasn't enough for me.
Would you say that was, in a sense, perhaps typical of that day and age, when people were perhaps a little bit more private with their lives?
It could have been. I think when I look back now and see some of the movies in the 50s, you think, wow, life was very different anyway in those days. People were much more formal, and the whole society is much more informal today, which lends itself, to be honest, to much more relaxed relationships. You can talk about things that were pretty outside of normal discussion in those days. Things have changed. Not only church has changed, I think social life has changed.
What do you think are some of the dangers of a church that is more preoccupied with your personal devotion and your personal walk with God?
I don't think it's possible to really grow into maturity alone. I think you need one another. And actually, I think that's a fairly profound thing when you think about it. When you think that God is in Trinity, He's in relationship, that's what God is like. And we're made in the image and likeness of God. And so it's not incidental that we need relationships, that we enjoy relationship, that we can grow with others and not alone. Relational things are pretty important.
Yeah. So often people think, well, God is righteous, God is holy, therefore the church is righteous, should be righteous, should be holy. But perhaps people fail to recognise God is community, and therefore the church is community. So what do you think about the way the church is supposed to reflect the Trinity in that sense? I
think that at first we need to know we're accepted. We need to know that we're not trying to impress one another, to become something we're not. I think that it's very difficult to build a relationship when everyone's pretending and we're all behind our masks. And religious atmosphere lends itself to that. Yeah. If you're not careful, you never meet the real person, because you're meeting what this person is trying to project. How do I want to come across? And that's not helping anybody. And so we need enough relaxation. And I think for us, when we first started small groups, which was such a breakthrough, I said, when we start small groups, let's just play Scrabble and Monopoly. And it wasn't because I was hugely impressed with the spiritual significance of either of them, but I felt if we can't relate naturally, we'll never get anywhere. Yeah. So first few weeks we ever did small groups, years and years ago, I said, don't bring your Bibles, bring your Scrabble. And you think, what a crazy thing. But at last we can maybe just be friends, and then you don't have to project something. And then you can find, hey, this guy is living the same kind of life to me, and maybe he's further ahead in some of these spiritual things. Maybe we could talk about those too. So they would come out much more naturally and really find one another in a way that means something.